Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this presentation for July 14th, 2019. As always, please consider subscribing as well as ringing the bell notifications. Never miss one of my videos again. And as always, please look in the description for other videos of mine with superior weather content that you won't find anywhere else. And as a way of donating to my channel, please consider watching the entire video. Today will be my 2019 Atlantic hurricane season outlook. And yes, you might see my face on the top right corner of your screen and wonder what the heck is going on. And I did tell you guys on my last video, if you do remember, that my wonderful mom and dad did give me a new computer, so I actually figured out how to put my face on there at the same time, because if you remember my old videos, like I did like about 6-7 months ago, my face used to be in them, but the recording software and the tripod was a lot to set up for you guys, so this is a way for you to see the screen and my face at the same time. So hopefully being on the top right will help out a little bit. So we're going to be observing the tropics and watch maybe another tropical disturbance in the Atlantic possibly. I know it's been kind of an active start to the Atlantic hurricane season. So let's get right into it here. Alright, so what have we got? We have got Tropical Storm Barry. I'm not going to be talking about this the whole video. I'm going to be doing literally like one slide on it, like literally, just to show you guys, give you like a quick update on it. And let's throw in my drawing tool here. Alright, so we have got Tropical Storm Barry. It's on the northern edge of Louisiana, but it's still a tropical storm. I thought it was going to be a depression by now, but likely, as we head over like this evening, it'll probably be a tropical depression, but nonetheless, still bringing 6 to 10 inches of rain in some spots. This is still a U.S. threat. This is a very catastrophic event. Like, we're talking about like feet of rain possibly. Eastern Arkansas could see another 6 to 10 inches of rain with widespread between southeastern Missouri and northwestern Mississippi. Widespread 4 to 6 inches with isolated amounts up to 10 inches. And southern Louisiana could see another 2 to 4 inches of rain as well. But around Lake Pontchartrain, New Orleans, maybe up to an inch of rain, but I think that'll be it for you. The storm is starting to pull out, some isolated storms and some scattered thunderstorms tomorrow. But other than that, as we move forward in time, conditions will slightly get better. But now we're going to talk about the future and how, well, first Barry will move into the mid-Atlantic and the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, and then you will see another disturbance potentially come in. So let's track this out. All right. And I'll fix the lighting setting when I do my next video. I know the light, it might be a little bit dark in here, as you might see, but hopefully I will get that fixed. So here is Barry. It is right on the Texas, at least according to the European model from 12Z. It's right on the Texas-Louisiana border. It's moved into northwestern Louisiana, and it's going to continue to move into kind of a motion like that nonetheless, or more or less. But let's track this out here. So there it is by hour 72. This is Wednesday morning on July 17th, and there it is, right in the Ohio Valley. We still got some energy. It could let go with a cold front, maybe produce some scattered showers and thunderstorms from the Ohio Valley to the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. So there it is, kind of starting to form like a straight line. Maybe it could be like a line of storms, but that's the moisture from Barry, kind of forming into a frontal, kind of like a frontal boundary. You got the winds from the south out ahead of it, got the northwest winds behind it. This definitely looks like it's coming into a shape of a cold front here. And then eventually pulls through Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, coastal Virginia, and then it's out of here by about Saturday morning or Friday afternoon. So that's it with Barry. Now you see in the Caribbean, nothing is going on with the European model, nothing in the Caribbean. However, the GFS and, well, not the CMC, but the GFS is giving us something to watch. Let's actually go to that right now. This is still cyclonic vortices. I just like this map better. The colors and the graphics are a little bit better with this, in my opinion. Still got the same concept of vorticities, yellow, orange, and red. Kind of like those heavier vortices, and even those purples could be heavier vortices as well, as shown on the key on the right side of your screen. So let's try this out here. Here's a GFS model, and forecast hour here, this is 108, and this will be on Thursday night, right around 8 o'clock p.m. And you do see we do have a high pressure to the north here, as indicated by the 500 millibar heights. We got this kind of like, yeah, this Bermuda high, and it's going to kind of take that, and here's this little low pressure system potentially that could form, and as indicated by those yellows and oranges, and possibly some reds, but kind of ragged, nothing too bad overall, but it will actually kind of die off and it'll make a comeback, so to speak. So let's continue to track this out. And this is now forecast hour 132. This is Friday night at 8 o'clock p.m. on July 19th. And you can see it's kind of getting a little bit more of a leftward tilt, got a little kink in there. Maybe starting to develop a little center, but maybe just a little invest area we'll have to watch. And you can see we still got that high pressure now, kind of area 594, kind of moved now off the coast of the Carolinas. So this might pick up this storm and try to take it into the Gulf of Mexico, which is a possibility in a direction like this. So let's check this out. So here we go. So it kind of shows like it's dying off. Okay, but don't let that fool you. Watch. It'll kind of die off, kind of sort of go into Cuba in the next 168 hours or 7 days. And then watch this. We start to see some red starting to develop. Start to see a little bit of red dots, right as it moves into Cuba. And then that's when we have to start watching. Now, this is past 200 hours, so this is a little bit far out. But like I said, on its path north of the Bahamas, or north of Haiti and Cuba and the Lesser Antilles, it could form over there. If not, it might form in the Gulf of Mexico. But let's watch. Look at this. Right as it comes off of Cuba, makes landfall in Cuba. I mean, not landfall because we're not sure if it's going to be a tropical storm, but the storm will come on land right around Cuba, and there it is. You can just see a little bit of spin associated with it here. There it is. Starting to see a lot more yellows, oranges, and reds pop up there on the cyclonic vorticities. As we continue to track this, there it goes in the Gulf of Mexico, and guess what? I mean, this is over 260 hours out, but it might be heading for Louisiana yet again. So we'll see how that plans out. But just for a very long term, there it is, making landfall potentially in Louisiana. But like I said, look at this. This is the end of July. Okay, so just something to consider. It's giving us something to watch. Let's put it that way. Here's the CM Gem model, again showing nothing but barely moving into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. All right, Nino 3-4 indexes. Here we go. I'm not trying to zoom in too much because I don't want it to get in the way of my face on the top right of the screen. But you can see Nino getting down below 0 here, but it's recently come back up to 0.3, which is still neutral phase. And the latest update here from the Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology, where this was from July 9th, which July 9th, I do believe, was a few days ago. Yes, I was on a Tuesday. And we are in an inactive phase. So, which means it could go either way, El Nino or La Nina. I think a neutral and El Nino is more likely than a La Nina, but the next issuance will be in 9 days on July 23rd. Trade winds. This is the part that might steer it towards a La Nina. Look at this. Trade winds are above average. That is a factor of La Nina. Now, I'm not saying just because there's one factor doesn't mean that it's a La Nina, but, you know, if you get some La Nina factors and some El Nino factors, it could balance out to make a neutral phase. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Sea surface temperatures, these maps are kind of old. I will show you that a little bit later on in the video. But other than that, trade winds are above average. It gives you something to think about. I'm also going to show you my outlook. Almost forgot to show you at the beginning of the video. And I am in the middle of designing this, but the average here is 12, 6, and 3. And my outlook is going to be slightly above average. I'm getting the latest match. I just want to get this video out to you guys because I haven't done a video in a while, but about this kind of topic. But I will give it to you guys in one of my next couple videos. I just, in the middle of designing this, I didn't quite get to finish because I wasn't quite sure, because there was some, now that I saw the El Nino was starting to, you know, rise a little bit, that might make me change my forecast a little bit based on the current conditions. However, I do have a PowerPoint here, and this, I did not make this myself, so don't give me the credit. This is from NOAA, but I used to be able to open it in Google Chrome. Now I have to open it in PowerPoint because of the new computer and all that. So here we go. 55% chance, 55% chance of an El Nino through the fall and winter time. 66% chance through the summertime, 2019. As you can see here, Nino 3-4 is 0.6 degrees Celsius, but that was updated, I do believe, a while ago, like a few days ago. That was the update on July 8th. But one thing I do want to show you is the upper equatorial sea surface temperature. Now it's like, this is like subsurface, but it's close to the surface. And look how we're starting to see these blues starting to take up the map, especially towards the top there. This one's closer to the surface. So the farther up this graph you go, the closer to the surface you'll get. I mean, this is just like west to east. Like this is east, this is west. But I do believe. So, but we're starting to see, I mean, at the immediate surface, looks like we see some warm temperatures, but definitely a lot more colder air is starting to take over here. So we'll have to see how this goes, but just know that the factors El Nino, La Nina might balance out to make a neutral phase. So we'll have to see how that all plays out, but neutral phase or a very weak El Nino is very well possible. Let's see if we can go to the next slide. Here we go. Alright, let's go to the next slide. I'm not going to go through every single one. This one was recently updated as well. We were in 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, which is a weak El Nino. We did drop to 0.7, though, for the time period of April, May, and June. Now, once the first outlook of August comes out for this presentation, this column May, June, July will come out, but hasn't come out because the month of July is nowhere near finished yet. Still got not halfway to go. So the outlook still for this chart is updated on June 13th, about a month ago, and it still says the same thing overall. August, September, October, November, and also October, November, December, and that those three separate 3-month consecutive periods are the lowest we will get, according to the forecast probabilities here and the climatologies, and looks like we'll hover around 50% probability for El Nino. So like I said, it can go either way. These are the models from June. There's no July models yet for the IRI and CPC consoles, but they do show hovering around 0.5. Maybe a lot of models take it below that. I mean, this model here at the bottom is going all the way La Nina. I wouldn't say that, but hey, I mean, you can go your own way. If you ever seen that neuro commercial, that medicine commercial, go your own way? That's what the models can do. They can go their own way. But we'll just have to see how it all plays out. Now, this is what gets me worried here. Now, obviously, you know that the sea surface temperature anomalies are lower, like 0, -0.5. The lower they get, the less shear they're going to have in the Atlantic, and the more shear you have in the Pacific. So more active Atlantic hurricane season could be possible with lower sea surface temperature anomalies. And look at this. This CFS V2 forecast, these pretty much update a lot, maybe even every day, maybe every week. This was issued on the 8th of July. But look at this. They're forecasting a drop. All these models pretty much are, like I'd say about like 90% of the models are forecasting a drop to near or at La Nina. And that worries me, and it's going to worry a lot of other meteorologists like myself out there if they do happen to look at this map. So let's look at this. See, I do believe that's it. But again, here's your outlook for the summer. There's so many things that keep getting in the way, like immediate weather events that pop up that I have to do a video on. But hopefully I will try my best to get a summer outlook out to you guys. But here it is from the NOAA. I also do my own outlook. Cooler for the central U.S., but everywhere else pretty much is going to be warmer than average. And the central United States as well as Alaska could be a little bit wetter than average as well. Let's go back to our Google Chrome tabs. Here's the Tropical Intensity Index. Highly favorable for much of the Atlantic in those oranges and reds. But now the Gulf of Mexico is highly unfavorable for development. We got a lot of wind shear now, ever since Tropical Storm Barry has moved through the region. Oceanic heat, we got that. Especially in the Western Atlantic, in the Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean. We definitely have oceanic heat. Definitely cannot emphasize that one enough. Alright, dry air. Alright, so they were talking about this Invest 93L. If any meteorologist like myself caught on to this, you might have seen it on Tropical Tidbits on a satellite imagery. Or maybe you find a National Hurricane Center, yeah, it's at like 10 to 20% chance of development. They're not focusing on it anymore, but it looks pretty healthy on satellite. However, it is forecast to run into this barrier of dry air, and that could potentially cut down on the moisture part of the storm. But it's still going to have some gusty winds. It's moving into the Lesser Antilles now, around Barbados. So just prepare for that. I mean, a lot of the rain falls on the north side, north and northeast side of the center of circulation. So Barbados, and already we're on the Lesser Antilles, especially central and south Lesser Antilles. Be prepared for some showers and storms, maybe like 1 to 3 inches of rain, and some wave heights, maybe like 6 feet or so. Any of these tropical waves that move through this area can definitely do that. But a lot of dry air, but Gulf of Mexico, there is no dry air now. Ever since Barry moved through, there's your center circulation with Barry. You got this flow right out of the east there. But really, Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean, at least the Western Caribbean, and the Western Atlantic, all places that are starting to lack some dry air. So we're seeing, let me make my marker a little bit thicker there. But we're definitely starting to see more active conditions kick in. And the wind shear, again, here is Barry, right in northwestern Louisiana. You still got this area of wind shear. Like I said, ever since Barry moved through, the Gulf of Mexico remains an inhabitable, non-conducive area for development. However, Look at this. This is the Cape Verde Islands. There is like absolutely like no wind shear out in the tropical Atlantic anymore. And again, that worries me very much. That we've just seen, I never saw a disturbance highlighted by the National Hurricane Center in the Atlantic yet. When I saw Invest 93L, which never developed. It's not going to develop anymore. I mean, conditions were just not too favorable. But now this worries me. Any tropical wave that moves through, could potentially do some damage. And I could tell that Africa is right over here because you can see the Cabo Verde Islands are right here. So Africa's like right over here somewhere, just not on the map. But definitely wind shear is definitely going down, and that worries me. Alright, time for the satellite imagery. So we head into the latter portion of this video. And look, this very nice circulation there at Barry. I'm fairly impressed. And it's still a tropical storm. It's been like, it's like hundreds of miles on land, I'd say. Like, the stern circulation is starting to enter Arkansas. And yet still, we got 40-mile-per-hour winds sustained with gusts up to 45, and that's a tropical storm. And here's former Invest 93L, no longer watched by the National Hurricane Center. But you can see its moisture starting to move in to Barbados and the rest of the Lesser Antilles, especially the southern half of the Lesser Antilles. And here's a recent tropical wave, moved off the coast of Africa. Looks like another one's looming off to the east. But like I said, now that the wind shear, I mean the dry air, if we go back to the dry air map briefly, the dry air, we still got a fair amount of that. But we got to start paying attention to these tropical waves now, especially. I mean, I was kind of silly. I used to watch these tropical waves back in March off the coast of Africa. That was a little foolish of me. But now we got to start watching these because, and this part of the tropical wave, let me get my marker. This part is starting to drift a little bit farther north. Now, we'll likely run into some dry air, but the wind shear is very low, if not zero. So that's worrying me. We need to start being cautious and prepared. Here we go. Okay, El Nino starting to make a comeback, but overall still neutral for the SST anomalies. Here is the North Atlantic, though. Well up there. Okay, I know part of it might be blocked off by my camera, but you can definitely see we're above the 0.6 line, so the North Atlantic is really warm. So, not saying warm enough to sustain a tropical system, but close enough. Let's look at the Gulf of Mexico, and you can see now it's right on the 0.5 line, so it's still above average, the Gulf of Mexico. Back in the beginning of June, we were really above average, but still above average Gulf of Mexico, but not as much as it was, say, maybe like a couple days ago. Let's look at the Western Atlantic now. Zoom in a little bit. You can see the anomalies. Western Gulf of Mexico, definitely very warm. Western Atlantic is very warm. Even the Caribbean is warm, especially the Eastern Caribbean. Western Caribbean is a little bit cooler, as well as the Southern Gulf of Mexico than average. Not saying cooler, but cooler than average. Here we go. 7-day change anomalies across the Eastern Gulf of Mexico. Ever since Barry moved through, we got those cold push of winds behind the center circulation, cooler temperatures behind the storm. So, as of now, because of those cooler air temperatures and the cooler breeze, the water kind of chilled a little bit, but prepare for it to crank back up. As, believe it or not, sometimes what can happen is when the Nino starts rising, we get like a little bit of an El Nino pattern. The sea surface temperatures are a little bit warmer as well. And sometimes when a La Nina, our sea surface temperatures are a little bit cooler sometimes. Sometimes that can happen. So we'll see how that all plays out. Every hurricane season is different. We had an El Nino, which is unfavorable for development in the Atlantic in 1969. We had a hurricane like Camille, and it was like, people say it was the most catastrophic season ever. I don't think it was, but it was definitely a bad hurricane season, without a doubt. Keep in mind, these sea surface temperatures were taken from 8 o'clock this morning, so they're going to have a little bit of a, like, cooler temperatures than they should say, like, a little weight on it, but you can see they're going to be cooler than they should be. A little bias is what I was trying to say. I couldn't find the word. Cooler bias because it's taken from 8 o'clock this morning, but you get the overall sense. It's 30, 31 degrees Celsius in the Western Gulf of Mexico. And much of the Western Atlantic, 28, 29, that's all you need is 80s, low mid-80s, and you got sustainable areas for tropical development. With Barry, south coast of Louisiana, we did have sea surface temperatures of 91 degrees. And if it wasn't for that, dry air, and it was some slight dry air and wind shear conflicting it along the way, we could have very well had a Category 2 hurricane. East Tropical Atlantic's a little bit cooler. You can see Cabo Verde Islands cooler, but on the process of warming up. And as for the sea surface temperatures overall, you can just see we're warming up to near 80, but still cold 70s by the Cabo Verde Islands. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe, ring the bell notifications, share this video with your friends. I am Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time, thank you for watching.